On Inventor students, there's a way to create a drawing. So on Inventor, if you ever get to create a drawing, what I mean by a drawing is a drawing on paper, right, with a title block and the name and the date, the top views, the front view, right side view, section view, and all that. That's what I mean by drawing. So on Inventor, what you do is you go over here and create new. Again, the button is here, but I like to go through here because then that way I can specifically pick either inches or metric millimeters. So it really depends on the part that you're working on. So the one that I'm going to be working or demonstrating for you guys today is English inches. So I'm going to go over here to English, but I am not going to create a part file. The part file has been done already. For us to create the drawing, we need to have the part done already because we're going to create a drawing of the part. So I'm going to go to the drawing, which is an Inventor drawing file, which is why it's an IDW, and then hit create. So by doing that, you notice that the viewer is different. We don't have the extrude command. We don't have anything like that because this is two-dimensional. This is a sheet. So on this sheet is where I'm going to create the drawing of a part. Which part am I going to look for today? Well, it's the one that I'm going to demonstrate. And to do that, what we're going to do first is, well, I guess a few things we need to do is this sheet is a D-size sheet. So that's pretty big. That's not the sheet that I want. So it just really depends on what's been assigned to you. So in this case, this is a D size. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate with a B size. So how do you change this over to a B size? You're going to go over here to the left, and right here where it says sheet 1, you're going to right click on a sheet 1, and then you're going to go edit the sheet. So when you click edit sheet, here is where you can simply change from D size to B size to A size to really any size you need. So I'm going to change this over to B size, okay, and then hit OK. So changing sheets in Inventor is actually very easy to do. So then that's the sheet size. Now, as far as the title block, this is a default title block that comes with Inventor. You could create your own, but this is the one that we have. But I will tell you that this one is pretty big. This one, the default one is pretty big. As a matter of fact, it's named ANSI large. You actually see that over here. It says ANSI large, so it's just too big. So I don't want to use this one. It's just it's a little too much, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So over here on the left, right here where it says ANSI large, which is really just talking about this title block here, I'm going to right click and delete the ANSI large. And then I'm going to come up here to drawing resources. And if I expand drawing resources, I have the different title blocks. And then here I have the ANSI large that I just deleted. I'm going to go ahead and insert this one, the ANSI A, right click, and insert the ANSI A title block. So you notice it's a little bit smaller, okay? Now, based on the way I'm going to orient the drawing, I'm going to put the top view here, I'm going to put the front view here, and then the right side view here, okay? So because of that, you can kind of see the title block is kind of in the way in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the title block up to the upper right-hand corner. And on Inventor, once again, it's actually pretty easy because all I have to do is go to sheet 1 over here, right click under sheet 1, and I can go over here to edit the sheet. And when I click on edit sheet, that's where I went to go pick the original sheet size. But the orientation of the title block is simply by clicking here on any one of these, and you can orient it and put it on different locations. In this case, I want it on the upper right. If I want it on the upper left, I can go over here, right click edit sheet, and change it to the different orientations. I can also change it to portrait and landscape if I wanted to. So it just really depends on what you're trying to do. But once again, you can kind of see how easy that is on Inventor. It's just simply edit the sheet. And in this case, I do want it landscape and the title block on the upper right-hand corner. Okay. So now, to actually start projecting or putting the views in there, the way you're going to do that is you're going to work over here where it says create. You're going to start with the first button on the left, which is base view. Click on that one. So then the base view, if you're already working on the parts, it should come up here automatically. Okay, so in this case, I hadn't worked on that part in a few days, so I kind of lost that link. So here is where here's the issue that we have a lot is you need to go find the file. So in other words, where is it? So you're going to click on here. And here it happens to be on the folder on my downloads folder. It just happens to be because these are the ones that I was downloading for grading purposes. But in your case, you might have to go look for it. Okay, so that's always been the case with many times. So that's why I always recommend to link yourself to the Google Drive on your Google Drive is where you should have all your work. So it should be as simple as just going over to the Google Drive in your case. So it just depends. That's the part that you really have to kind of figure out on your own to see where you're saving your files. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one here for demonstration purposes. I'm going to hit open, jig block. Okay. So you can kind of see it already placed itself here. So this is going to be the front view. I'm going to, here's the front view, and then I'm going to move this over. I'm going to click and drag it so I can place it where I want it on the sheet right in here. And then once I'm happy with that front view, I just let go of the mouse, and then I just kind of come up here to the top and click on the top view. And then I can come over here to the right side and click on the right side, create the right side view. And I can go as far as coming up to over here diagonally to the upper right and click on that one and drop in a nice isometric view. Okay. Once I'm happy with all those, I just hit OK. And it creates the drawing for me. Okay. You're probably seeing right away, yeah, Mr. This is kind of over this stuff. I agree. This is messy. That we shouldn't have that. So I'll tell you how to fix that right now. But other than that, notice what it does. Inventor did the headlines for us. It did the object lines. It drew the object lines darker than the hidden lines, which is what we want as far as line quality. So there's still a few things that are missing. We're still missing center lines and dimensions. But other than that, that's pretty much your drawing. And you can, if I click and drag this thing around, you can kind of see that the views are aligned with each other. And that's really what you usually want. Now in AutoCAD, some of you guys didn't do that specifically, but you really should. That is a norm in mechanical engineering. Okay. So to make this one smaller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the isometric view, because it's just the whole scale is 1:1, which is basically full size. So that's why this one works nicely for a B-size sheet. But this one is also 1:1, but it's just too big. But I do want to leave it here. So the way I can adjust the scale of this one in particular, I can come up here and hover over it where you see this little red box. You can right click over it and you can edit that view in particular. So I can go edit that view, and then what I can do is I can change the scale of just this one view here over to maybe a half size, and then maybe make it a little smaller. I can drag it over here a little bit and then hit OK. And then that's our nice isometric view with a half size scale. Okay. Some other things I can do to this view, I can go over here to this view, select it, right click, edit view. So to this one view, I can go in here and hidden lines are removed. I can go in here and add hidden lines if I wanted to that isometric view, if that's really what I wanted. Okay, so it really depends on what you want to do. Another thing I can do is I can go and edit view. I can go in here and shade the isometric view and give it some color. Okay, so tons of neat little things that you can do on Inventor, very similar to Revit, where you can add color and things like that. So you can if you want to. I'm going to leave the color. It's kind of cool, but I am going to take off the hidden lines. It's just a little bit too much. So I will leave it shaded on, but I'm going to go ahead and change it over to hidden lines removed. And there we go. Okay, just to make it look nice. All right. Now, as far as annotating, I'm not going to annotate the whole thing, but you can just go over here to annotate up on top. And then you can go to dimension. And then you just simply start dimensioning from this edge to this edge. Is very similar to when you're doing sketches. When you're doing sketches in the part file. And then the other thing that's going to happen here is going to put this little bracket. What that little bracket does, you just leave it alone. What happens is that it reads the size of the part and it puts the text in there for you. So that's pretty neat. So you don't really have to go and type in text or nothing like in AutoCAD. So in here, you just simply put in the dimension. The only other thing you would have to do if you wanted fractions is that you have to go and hit escape, select the dimension, and we'd have to change it to a different style. There are some styles that are already set up for fractions if you ever need to do fractions. So you click on fractions, and then you go and start putting in your dimensions in fractions. Okay. Center lines. We do need center lines. So that under the annotate tab, you can go up here, and you have under the different symbols. These are all the different symbols that are part of mechanical engineering. We don't really use these, at least for this class, but just so you know, you do have different symbols. But these are the symbols that I use for center line. So I can put it in a center line if I need to. For this one in particular, this one that I can use here is just basically a center mark. So I click on center mark, and all I have to do really is just simply select the circle and puts in my center lines for me. Okay. Now don't forget that we really should also show center lines on the sides. So here we should show a center line goes here, because this is a drill hole, and then that drill hole also is here. So that one is one of the other options in here that we have to use as part of these center marks. So on those center marks, I'm going to go over here to, I forget which one it is. I think it's going to be the centerline bisector. So you select the centerline bisector, and then you select one hidden line and then the other hidden line, and it draws in your centerline for you. So centerline bisector is just simply selecting the two hidden lines, and kind of doesn't really matter where you select them. It's just going to put a center line right between those two lines that I just selected. Okay. And again, there are quite a few other things that you can do, but just in a quick summary, this is how you start creating drawings on Inventor. And then to create image files, this is really easy. To create an image file, you just go to File, Export, and you can export directly to a PDF or even an image. You can do either one. The PDF, though, is high resolution, so you can click on PDF, and it just simply tells you to name the PDF, and you save it. And there's no settings, there's nothing really to do other than just saving the PDF. And then once you save the PDF, it did put it on my documents folder, so I'll go over here and check it out. And just to show you the PDF of this one drawing. So this would be the essential image. If you ever get to create an image, of course it is in black and white, but nonetheless, this is a pretty sharp looking image in a PDF format on Inventor. Okay, so that's how you create a drawing on Inventor for your information.